All right, what's up, my brothers from another mother? Good morning. It is roughly 6 a.m. I've just arrived at the office, and I wanted to do this video for you guys on cryptocurrency and what I've learned in the last couple weeks. I know that I've been talking a lot for the last year and change about red pill awareness and navigating the world with such a lens, and today I'm going to be telling you why you need to start paying attention to the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I've updated my belief system. In the past, I've stated that I have some pretty significant fears, and I'll get into that in 1 second. I first came across, I guess, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies roughly 2012, I think it was. I was approached by somebody that was setting up a startup in Toronto. I can't remember what the name of it was, but anyway, it got on my radar screen around 2012. On my old laptop, I downloaded some software to mine, and I mined approximately zero point 0.2 Bitcoins, which is worth, what would that be right now, because it's $21,000 Canadian. 0.2. It's about 4,200 bucks. Anyway, somebody stole that laptop, so it's got $4,200 worth of Bitcoin on it right now. At the time when I did it, I thought it was insane, stupid, it wasn't going to go anywhere, and a colossal waste of my time. So I let it run for literally half a day, I think, and I closed the laptop and I got rid of the software. So I was wrong. I've updated my belief system since then. I've talked to a few of my friends about this over the past few years, and my response to them every time they've said to me, getting into Bitcoin, I'm going all in on cryptocurrency and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, just make an adjustment. Apologize for the noise. I've always told them that I've got two big fears, which I still have today, but I believe there's a way to manage it. The first is, of course, theft, because anything that's digital can be hacked and does get hacked. Last week, for example, last Wednesday, Thursday, I think it was $69 million was stolen from a mining outfit. And the way it works, and guys, some of this will be really advanced for some of you, and some of this will be like, yeah, Rich, what took you so long? Just bear with me to the end. I'm going to basically force you to drink from the fire hose, because I've learned a lot in the last 2 weeks since I've gone all in on something like this. I haven't gone all in. I'll explain what I'm doing. But yeah, so this mining operation, which basically solves computations and as a reward for confirming transactions on the blockchain, gets a Bitcoin. $69 million was stolen. They have the wallet ID, but they don't know who the owner of the Bitcoin is. It's pretty easy to launder and move around, but that is still a very real problem. The way to resolve it, I don't have it on this keychain, but there's a thing called a ledger, which is cold storage, and you basically put your cryptocurrency on a device that you can carry around with you. You can lock in a safe. You can do whatever you want with it, but I picked one up, and that's where I store my cryptocurrency right now. So it's not possible to be stolen if it's off a network and in cold storage. It's literally disconnected from the network. So let me go into why I've updated my belief system a little more. So theft was the first issue. The second thing was government legislation. This is the thing that I still think could be the biggest potential problem for cryptocurrencies, and why I'm still getting into it now. This company that I'm in right now, it's called Total Debt Freedom. There's a YouTube channel for it as well. There's nobody here right now. I get in the office early on Tuesday mornings, but it was attacked by banks, credit card companies, and the government around 2011, 2012. They changed legislation in the way that we operate. Most of the companies out there went out of business. We found a way to pivot to make things work. But I've seen what the banks and the government do when something new pops up and is a potential threat to their dominance in the market, the monopoly that they have. What this company does is it saves people a ton of money with credit card debt. We negotiate a reduced payout. So that is diametrically opposed to what banks want. Banks and credit card companies want you to pay more over a longer period of time with a shit ton of interest because it's very profitable for them. They have a lot of influence in the government, so they're able to lobby the government to change legislation. I saw firsthand what it did to this entire industry in Canada and also in North America, throughout the States as well. I've got some friends that operate some companies in the US that were also forced to pivot and modify their approach, which at the end of the day cost people more money, but it gave the banks and credit card companies more control. So why am I telling you all this? Well, this is a relatively new industry that is in fact a threat to the banks and credit card companies, and especially the government. Fiat currency, again, out of my wallet, leave those things in the car for some reason. Fiat currency, so paper money, is has been printed. It costs nothing to make paper money. There's a lot of people out there that don't trust large financial institutions and the government because of what happened in 2008 with the financial collapse of the markets, and that's actually the origin of Bitcoin. That's where it came from, is guys that were just tired of the bullshit and said there's got to be a better way to transact, to lower the transaction fees. Like, for example, to send money, like when I had to send money from here to the United Kingdom back in May when I went to do the 200 mile an hour challenge, it literally took, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 days. And in some places it can take even longer, and the cost to transact is pretty expensive. So to move money around is very efficient with cryptocurrency. So it solves that problem, which is a threat to the banks. The banks can't pin any kind of interest rate to it. The central banks that print money, they can't control its value because it's decentralized. It's on an open network, a blockchain, which is unhackable. It's basically this massive network of ledgers. If anybody's familiar with accounting, you've got assets and liabilities, but it's this massive network of ledgers that really can't be changed. So it offers something to the public that is in very high demand. Geeks love this sort of stuff. I consider myself kind of a geek light, but the geeks that have been mining it, that have been making a lot of money off Bitcoin in the last year, are doing exceptionally well. So the reason why I'm kind of doing this preface, this intro, is I just want to let you know that there are still fairly significant threats. Government could change legislation which would impact cryptocurrency and the blockchain. Those are two different things, by the way. Cryptocurrencies are a store of value and exchange of money. The blockchain is a place where, well, it's tied into the cryptocurrency, but it's a place where you can execute smart contracts, which I'll talk about in a little bit when I get to Ethereum. So the government can, at choke points where you need to access your money. So you can do all your stuff on the blockchain, but when you need to access your money at a bank or some kind of website that allows you to transfer to fiat currency paper money, that's where they'll probably be able to do it. Now, I don't think they're going to go too far with it. They still have to do something. I think they're going to do some fear-mongering along the lines of it funds terrorism and blah, 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 which is really just a lot of bullshit because the US dollar has funded more terrorism throughout history than any other currency, combined. When they flew those planes in the World Trade Center and needed to learn how to fly aircraft, I'm sure they paid for flying lessons in US dollars, for the terrorists to fly the plane. So it's not going to change much, but you're going to hear stuff in the media about a lot of fear-mongering, which will, of course, come from the government and sources throughout, media, news outlets and stuff like that. Again, guys, when I'm talking, I'm kind of operating with a red pill lens here, so I hope a lot of this makes sense. If I'm missing stuff, I know a lot of you guys are a lot deeper in this than I am. Leave a comment below and correct me so that everybody understands in the community how this all works. And if you have questions, of course, post them below. I'll do my best to answer. And of course, anybody that does know, try to contribute as well. All right. So what am I doing right now? I'm probably going to go in about 5 to 10% of my investments on cryptocurrency. I started to notice about 2 weeks ago, this is my subscription feed on YouTube, a couple weeks ago, that my feed started to change. I started to subscribe to cryptocurrency channels, and I'll give you some resources in a minute on which ones I like. So let me start with Coinbase first of all, because this is where I started, and I think it's a very easy entry point for most people. Let me move this a little bit over here, or get it out of the way down here actually. There you go. So Coinbase is fairly straightforward. There's a lot more complicated exchanges where you can exchange your currency for, how many are there in total now? Let me just go here. There's currently 1,343 different cryptocurrencies. I'll get to that in a second. But Coinbase will allow you to buy 3 currencies. You can't sell them in Canada, unfortunately. I have this set to, yes, I have it set to Canadian dollars. You can't buy them in Canada, so you can't sell them in Canada, but you can buy with your credit card. So it's really easy to set up. The verification process is straightforward if you follow it. It does work. It's what I've been using for the last couple of weeks, but it has limitations. So if you're looking to get started and not miss the boat, and by the way, guys, if you think you're going to miss the boat or it's too late, I guarantee it's not. Something like less than 1% of the world population is currently using this form of currency, and there's a hell of a lot more money that needs to come into it. Bitcoin, let me just go over to this page over here. This is a website, by the way. I'll mention all the resources as I go through them. So on my top tabs, first one will be Coinbase.com. Second one is coinmarketcap.com, and it'll sort all the currencies by market capitalization. Bitcoin's, of course, at the top. And let me just click this. The interesting property about Bitcoin, if it opens for me, there we go. The interesting property about Bitcoin is there's a limited supply, which is very, very different from the way fiat currency works, the way money works, because they can just keep printing it. Whenever there's financial turmoil, or some banker makes some dumbass decisions, or the government, legislator makes dumbass decisions that don't work out, and they need to infuse stimulus into the economy, they just go and print more money. So currently, the circulating supply of Bitcoin is only 79.6% of the max available supply, which is 21 million coins. And those guys that go, oh, well, I can't afford $16,000 US to buy a coin, that's fine. You can buy them in fractional amounts. I mean, you can buy as little, I think, as $2 or $5 of Bitcoin on Coinbase. So you don't need 16 grand to get into the market. So the reason why I'm pointing to this is when there's a limited supply and demand is there, prices will always go up. Bitcoin's not being used as an exchange of currency right now, although it can be used for that. It's more being used as a store of value. So people are putting money into it because when you store cash into it, it appreciates over time. And it has done, well, all year. Let me just change this chart over here to 1 year. All year it's gone up about 2,000%. It started the year at about $1,000, and it's at currently 21,683 Canadian. Again, I'm doing this in Canadian dollars because that's where I live. So, a lot of people are going, oh, it's a bubble, it's going to burst, and blah, blah, blah. Well, as long as people are still buying the currency, and we have institutions now that are putting this in the media now, of course, because on December 10th, which was 2 days ago, the option to trade, you'll be able to short it if you're institutional investor or accredited investor, with the big guys. It's lending it more credibility, which should reduce the volatility of the currencies. You'll see fewer of these up and down moments. Now, is there going to be a correction coming? I don't know. My crystal ball doesn't really work that well right now, and nobody's really got one. But we've seen over time, let me go over all time. We've seen over time, since this started to be tracked here. Looks like it's around 23. Oh, hold on a second. Stop that. Since 2013, it's had some run-ups, small correction. It's had more of a run-up, and along the way over here, these corrections don't look very big. But if I were to zoom in on the time, they're probably closer to 50 to 100% corrections drops, and over time again and again and again and again. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it went up to $30,000 Canadian by the end of the year, or it could go down to $10,000. I don't know, but at the end of the day, who really cares? The technology's proven itself. It's effective. It's cheap to move money around. It's very quick to move money around. We've seen that Bitcoin itself is an excellent store of value. It's proven itself as a store of value, which is what creates the appreciated price over time. And being the #1 currency in the cryptocurrency space, it's definitely worth looking at. So let me go back to Coinbase here. The 3 coins that you can buy on here are Bitcoin, which is, of course, like digital gold. Ethereum is another network, which is essentially the biggest difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let me just go back here to CoinMarketCap. Ethereum is a #2 coin. It's designed more for smart contracts. There is no limitation to the supply. So mining will create more coins over time, which means that the currency likely won't appreciate as quick as those with a limited supply, like Bitcoin and Litecoin. Now, the problem that Ethereum solves, going back here, is it's on a smart, it's based on a smart contract network, which means what it does is it allows you to execute agreements between 2 parties on the blockchain. So if I, for example, wanted to get a car loan for a new car, I'm a car guy, you guys already know that if you've been watching my stuff for a while. If I wanted to get a new car, I could literally, through the blockchain network and Ethereum, work out some sort of a car loan or a mortgage if I wanted to buy a house, for example. The payments would come from my cryptocurrency wallet. If anything happened, like I didn't make the payments, it would trigger a default status, which would then allow the vehicle to be repossessed automatically. Very low in administration, legal fees, and manpower is required. So the future of transactions is going to be on the blockchain. There's no question about that. I would bet the farm on it. So you're going to see more and more organizations, and if you don't believe me, one of the biggest cryptocurrencies here in the top 10, I believe it is Ripple, if I'm not mistaken, is run by banks. I believe this is, let's see here, the only words, global payments. Ripple, I believe, is run by Royal Bank, American Express. Is this the one? Somebody, yeah, it is. Okay, Royal Bank. So it's a it's a collaboration between a bunch of financial institutions, and the problem with that in itself is the entire cryptocurrency network was created because of a lack of trust in the way government and financial institutions work. So while this is the number 6 coin as far as market cap, it just goes to show you that financial institutions have invested heavily in this technology. Ripple is very similar to Ethereum. It uses smart contracts. You can see why financial institutions want to use it. They obviously see the value in it. Ethereum still carries more, but this is based mostly for financial transactions. Speaking of Ethereum, by the way, let me point out this because I found this very interesting. CryptoKitties. I don't know if you guys heard about this yet. So CryptoKitties is a, it's really stupid. I can't believe that this is actually, there's even a Reddit for it. I can't believe that this is actually, there it is. I can't believe this is clogging up the Ethereum network. This will probably go down in history as one of the dumbest things, but also one of the things that really launched the Ethereum network on the blockchain. They're stupid cats that you can breed and collect. So start meow. You have to install some shit, but it basically works on the blockchain network. So the blockchain network works on smart contracts. This is very simple to understand for most people, I'm sure. And what you do is you buy these cats with your Ethereum money, and they mate, they make little kitties, and then you trade them, and they have certain values. And there's people that are spending a lot of money on some of these crypto kitties to buy, sell, and trade. So here they are. So these look like they're all priced in like Ethereum tokens. Anywhere from, this one here is for sale for 2.9993, and this one's 0.0199. And they all have certain properties. So if you click on them, they tell you what the properties of the kitty are. But this is one of the applications for the Ethereum network. And this particular application is clogging up the Ethereum network. It's kind of why it had a bit of a slow pace over the last couple of weeks when CryptoKitties launched. But there's a lot of applications out there that are required. This is not something that I feel is a bubble right now. I think there's a ton of room on this to grow. There's a lot of speculation that Bitcoin could be worth upwards of $1 million a coin in the next year, perhaps even 2 years tops, if it continues at this rate. Again, there's a limited supply. People are storing value in it. It's money, it's basically money. To kind of go back to the origin of money, we started trading things like, if I had a goat and I needed chickens, I would trade my goat for 3 chickens. And then there was going to be a time where there was a guy that had wheat, but he wasn't able to grow wheat in the wintertime, so they figured, well, we can store the value of the wheat in a gold coin and trade the gold coin for chickens instead. And then it moved into other weird things like seashells and peacock feathers and tulips even. There was a tulip mania thing. And then eventually, it turned into coinage and things like paper money. And the transition time between coins, basically we would go and deposit. Let me throw this back up here so you can see my hand gestures. We go and deposit our coin in a, let's say, holding block, a bank or something like that. In exchange, they would give us a paper note. Like, that's where paper money came from. They would go and deposit their gold, and they get a paper note saying, this paper note is worth what's on deposit for $100, let's say. And then go around and spend it. But the adoption from people trading off precious metals for paper money took hundreds of years, actually. It took a long time for that trust to build. We've only been on this curve, for a few generations with paper currency. So you can rest assured that this digital currency is not going away. Again, biggest problems I still see are theft if you store your cryptocurrency online and not in cold storage, and government legislation, which I don't think is that big of a risk, which is why I've now gotten into it. All right, jumping around here because my ADD is kicking in. Ethereum, I just talked about smart contracts. Litecoin's very similar to Bitcoin. It's one of the older coins. I think it was designed around 2011 or 12 or something like that. And really, it was created to solve a lot of the problems that Bitcoin has. It's a faster form of transmission. It's cheaper. and it's still got similar properties, so there's still a limited supply of Litecoin. Interesting thing about Litecoin is I bought it, let me go to the 1 month chart. I bought it roughly 1 week ago. It was around 110 bucks. Where is it? Right around this point here, I think. Oh, I have to go back a little further. Anyway, it was around 110 bucks when I bought it. And it's at 357.76 right now. Again, very similar to Bitcoin. It's the number 5 coin on the list here. Very similar properties. There's a limited supply. I think there's a lot of room for growth. It's also a good store of value. They market it as the silver of Bitcoin, which I think is stupid because you're basically discounting the value if you technically have a superior coin with similar properties to Bitcoin. So it's faster and it's cheaper to transact, and it has the same properties because there's a limited supply. So that's Coinbase. That's how I would get started. In the description below, I'm going to link a affiliate link if you want to sign up for Coinbase. You use my link, you get $10, I get $10 worth of Bitcoin. So if you want to get started, this is where I would get started. If you're in Canada, you can buy Bitcoin with your credit card. I don't know how it works in the US. I think you can make deposits with your bank account. You can also sell on Coinbase if you're in the US. To sell your cryptocurrency in Canada, you'd have to move it to another exchange. So I'm using something called Quadriga QX. So again, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. Okay, so that's Coinbase. I've talked about cryptocurrency market caps. Again, there's 1,343 currencies. There's a lot of markets which you can trade any of these coins on. Just for some basic terms, Bitcoin dominates 60% of the market capitalization, and it keeps going up. Like, it's nuts the way that it's been growing this year. People are pouring into it. And again, less than 1% of the population is using this sort of currency as a store of value. But there's thousands of coins. I mean, I can scroll down and down and down. One coin that I'm watching right now is called Salt. Where are you? Around here. It's number 36. So get invested in learning about sort of this thing. Steam is an interesting coin. You probably want to check that out. It's basically social networking. You get rewarded in Steam coins based on the work you do. So a lot of these are launched as, we've got this new coin, it's an ICO, and it's going to have value, and it's going to skyrocket. But you can see many of these have absolutely no value whatsoever per coin. Some of the fractions are very, very tiny. And all they've done is they've stolen the source code from like Bitcoin and remarketed it as a slightly different pivot, and it does nothing new. Some of these do something new. This one here is a scam. Stay away from it. BitConnect is a load of bullshit. I'll get into that close to the end. Monero is another good coin. I think this is one that is, it's kind of like untraceable, which is, it's very cool, but it's worrisome because government wants to know where money's coming from and why. So those are the main coins there. I think there was another one here I wanted to point to. BitConnect, no, stay away from that. Zcash is pretty interesting. But have a look at it and do some research. I will point to some tools right now that I like. Let me start here with some of the YouTube channels that I've been following. Data Dash is very good. I'd recommend subscribing to that channel. He's doing regular uploads, and they make a great deal of sense. They're easy to follow. Amir Rosic, a good friend of mine from Toronto, runs a website called Block Geeks, where he's training developers and programmers. He talks pretty frequently, like every couple of days in video, about some news or something that's coming out, or doing a live Q&A. So check out his channel. And Crypto Investor, this guy has some pretty interesting content. You can tell he's trained in financial markets by the way he gets into the details. But again, these are the three that I probably pay the most attention to right now. I'm giving them to you as hopefully a useful tool for you to open your eyes to it. All right. Okay, I guess I'll leave the video at that. I've rambled on for a good deal of time. I just kind of wanted to introduce you to the cryptocurrency market and the blockchain and its usefulness. I know a lot of you are already familiar with this, and quite a few of you still aren't, because, like I said, there's not a lot of people that are currently in cryptocurrency. If you're operating with a red pill lens, like I am, and stuff like this matters, you want to get started now. The sooner the better. Excuse me. And the easiest way to get started, I think, is with Coinbase. Once you've started to understand the currency, how it moves around, how wallets work, it's pretty useful for transacting, low-cost transaction, and of course making money once you start trading in coins, because there's a lot of money to be made in the trading of these currencies. If I sort this by 24-hour change, you can see, like Litecoin, for example, has gone up almost 54% in a 24-hour period. Placing proper bets and using the market to your advantage can be very profitable. There's a lot of new money being created and people creating wealth and pumping real money into the economy right now by profiting from currency trading. So that's today's video. If you enjoyed that and you want to hear more of my thoughts on the blockchain and cryptocurrency in the future, let me know in the comments below. Just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of value here because I have been very interested in this in the last couple of weeks. It's probably occupied most of my spare time. So again, if you want to see more videos along the line, let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoy this. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.